J.J. Watt. Pass is caught. Diggs! Side the hole! He broke his ankles. Lightning strike from McCaffrey.
We're having fun. We get to have fun here. This is what it's all about.
The divisional round brought fireworks as we all expected. 2 games went to overtime. The other 2, not quite, but man, 2 of them went to overtime. One of them was really competitive for about 3 quarters. We saw a horrific quarterback performance in the Houston Texans game. What a weekend we had. What a weekend. Welcome into the show. Welcome into the Swank Tank. It is episode 34. It is Monday evening, January 19th. Thank you so much for being here. Without too big of an intro, this episode is fully diving into the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. What we just saw, like I prefaced, 4 games, right? Started off, Broncos-Bills overtime game, cinema. Absolutely fantastic cinema. Then you had the Seahawks game. I'm giving a thumbs down on the screen if you're watching. Then we had the Texans game. Kind of a thumbs down, kind of not. We got a good half there. Then it ended in Chicago with an overtime classic in the Windy City. 15 degrees, snow on the ground, interceptions in the air for Caleb Williams. What a weekend it was. We're breaking down everything from the divisional round. Along with that, some coaching updates. The coaching carousel continues to go around and around and around. Somebody gets hired, then somebody gets fired. Seemingly every other day at this rate. I'll update you with that, and we'll go over some of the hirings and recent firings as well. Welcome to the show again, episode 34. Appreciate you being here. We're getting into all that good stuff right now. Let's do it. If you're not already, make sure you go and follow on all these socials at The Swank Tank. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, those are the main platforms that we are on. Of course, Spotify for audio as well. Please make sure you go and follow and tap in. There's nobody doing exactly what we're doing here. We're doing 2 episodes a week. We're about to hit the offseason here soon, but we got AFC and NFC Championship games to break down later in the week. Thursday morning episode, don't want to miss that. Super Bowl content, a giveaway potentially in the future. Along with that, in the offseason, there is no offseason here. We're looking into getting some better graphics up on YouTube, where we are having a busy, I'm going to put air quotes around offseason because it won't be an offseason, busy time from the end of 2025-26 season into the start of the 26-27 season. Make sure you're tuned in on all the socials. Welcome to the show. Let's do it. The 6th seed Bills traveled to take on the number 1 seed Broncos. Broncos win 33-30 in overtime. Josh Allen, let's start with his stat line. 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles, 4 total turnovers from Josh Allen alone in this game at Mile High Stadium. Is it still called Mile High? I call it Mile High. It doesn't matter. Bo Nix, on the other hand, 279 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Really strong first half from Nix. Faded a little bit, came around in the end in the clutch when needed to, of course, to then get the win, then to sadly shatter his ankle. His season is done. You know this by now. His season is done. And you hate to see it because a player like Bo Nix is, not only is he a phenomenal, you can tell he's a phenomenal human being, but from an athletic perspective, he is a rare breed. Rare breed. His mobility, his speed, his arm talent, he's got a cannon as well. I mean, he is the franchise guy for Denver, and that's been known throughout the whole season. Losing him the way that they just did, so unfortunate. So unfortunate. Jared Stidham, or maybe Jared Studham, we'll have to see what the AFC Championship result is. Again, that episode out Thursday morning. We'll have to see what he can do. It's his time to shine. His time to shine. Bo Nix, great stat line, great game from him, out the rest of the way. Let's stick here. Let's switch back over to the Bills and go over some of their offensive stats and team stats. Bills had 449 total yards of offense. If I told you last week the Bills essentially had 450 yards of offense, you'd say they probably won the game. They did not. 183 of those yards were rushing. Again, they went up against one of the best rushing defenses on the road in the NFL, and they put up 183 rushing yards. If I told you that last week as well, you'd probably say the Buffalo Bills won this football game. They were 3 of 5 in the red zone. Okay, not great, not bad. 40 minutes time of possession. 40 minutes and 58 seconds TOP, including overtime. Dominant in controlling the football. Yet the dagger, of course, as it's almost always the dagger. 5 turnovers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 total turnovers by the Buffalo Bills when they could not have it. Especially the last one, the interception, which we're going to touch on here more in a second. For the Broncos, 349 total yards, 70 rushing. Only 70 rushing yards for Bo Nix and Harvey and McLaughlin. And going into this game, the best matchup the Broncos had was in the rushing attack with Harvey, McLaughlin, and Bo Nix using his legs. The Bills' rushing defense has been bottom 5 essentially all year long. They stepped up. They stepped up and only gave up 70 rushing yards. Along with that, Broncos were 1 of 4 in the red zone, 29-minute time of possession, 29 minutes, 18 seconds, including overtime, but only 1 turnover. So they won the turnover battle by 4, 1 to 5. Circling back to these turnovers, I already said the Bills had 5 of them, right? That was their dagger. That's clear to some, not to all. More on that in a sec. Let's go over their 5 turnovers, where they happened, and what happened after. First turnover for the Buffalo Bills. James Cook fumble on the Denver 32-yard line. Okay. What happened after that? Denver went down and scored a touchdown right after. Hate to see it. If you're a Bills fan, of course. Next turnover. Allen fumble on the Buffalo 35-yard line with 16 seconds in the half. 16 seconds. After that, Denver scored a field goal. Took 1 play, scored a field goal. Halftime, you go in, 2 turnovers, you're down. Hate to see it. Okay, I still have to play. Third turnover, Allen fumble on the Buffalo 14-yard line. The 14-yard line. Denver scored a field goal next from that. So far, those first 3 turnovers, you have a Denver touchdown, a Denver field goal, and another Denver field goal. That's 13 points off turnovers right there from the first 3. Next, Allen interception on the Denver 40. Denver then punted. The 5th one, Allen interception on the Buffalo 36. Obviously, that was the one in overtime. Denver goes down and hits the game-winning field goal. That's 16 points off of 5 turnovers. The Broncos forced 5 turnovers and scored 16 points off those turnovers. They win the game by 3 in overtime. That's the way of the... I mean, that's how close these teams are. Buffalo and Denver. Of course, if you have 5 turnovers, you're not going to win this football game. I'm amazed they were even still in it like they were. They shouldn't have been. But that's what Josh Allen and company have been doing all year long. Taking Josh has taken, I should say, an incomplete team and made them uber competitive. Almost an AFC championship appearance. That's what Josh has done. Yeah, he had 4 of these turnovers, so he was definitely part of the problem when it comes to looking at the loss they took. But they're not even close to there, or even in that game without Josh, of course. The Bills had 1 takeaway, 1 interception for Bo Nix. What'd they do with that takeaway? They turned the ball right back over. That was one of their 5 turnovers right after they took the ball from Denver. So 0 points on turnovers for the Bills. And here's my main points encompassing this entire game. The Bills wide receivers, so that was a question mark going into this game. They've had some injuries. They did have Coleman active. They had McCole Hardman active. They had Shakir active, of course, but the depth was not fully there. That was at least a concern with Gabe Davis being out and Shavers being out, right? The wide receivers stepped up. They didn't have a ton of yards. Shakir played well, but Hardman caught a touchdown. Coleman caught a touchdown. They stepped up in moments of need. And so did that run defense. That run defense held the Broncos to 70 rushing yards. 70. They did their job in a major way. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And tying this in to the overtime catch, If you did not watch this game, I'm assuming 99% of you listening or watching watched this game. Deep ball in overtime. Yeah, initially brought down by Brandon Cooks. He maybe had the knee down. The battle for control was really, what was looked at. Possession by the CB. They kind of tumble over each other. He ends up with it. A bang-bang play. Could have gone either way, when you really look at it. To me, it was an interception. I know Bills fans out there don't want to hear that. I'm sure just other NFL fans don't want to hear that. When I looked at it, I still thought it was an interception. To me, you had to have full control going to the ground. Yeah, to me, he didn't have that. So that's where I thought the interception was. And so you can get mad at me all you want. You can come at me all you want. I thought the call was correct. I thought that was a interception and that the refs got it right and that the Broncos deserved to win this game. So to me, it was a pick. It was a pick. But that's not why they lost the game. This play, of course, it's got a lot of media attention to it because it was a big deciding play, but the game was not decided in this one moment. The game was not lost by Buffalo in that one controversial interception. It was lost because they turned the ball over 5 total times. That's why it was lost. Not because, the refs screwed us. No. You turned the ball over, even if you exclude that pick, 4 times on the road to the number 1 seed in the AFC. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. And they were still fighting and battling in that game because that's what Josh Allen's done all damn year, is take an incomplete team almost to the AFC Championship game. So close. Yet again. And it has now led to the firing of McDermott. And nobody, people are blaming the interceptions. Let me slow down and gather my thoughts. People are associating the Broncos win due to their creation of turnovers. Not as many people as I would like to see. There's a lot more people saying, they won because of that pick, because they got lucky, because the refs helped them. No, they won because they forced 4 turnovers, 5 with that pick, and got 16 points off those 5 turnovers. That's why they won the football game. Stop saying they won just because that. Stop saying the Bills lost mainly just because of that interception. Stop it. There was a lot of other flaws, a lot of other things the Bills did wrong in this game. They did a lot of things very right. Turnovers was not one of those things. Not at all. We got this game pick correct. We called Denver to win in their own building. And in 2025, I've been saying it all year long, the Bills are not a complete enough team whatsoever. Their weaknesses stepped up here, mainly outside of the turnover department, of course. But whether you want to hear it or not, the Buffalo Bills in 2025 season were an incomplete football team, and that showed on Saturday night. It showed. Even with guys and even with their running defense stepping up, the weaknesses that they have had showed a little bit. Don't go blaming the one interception. Don't go blaming the refs. You turn the ball over way too many times. It's pretty plain and simple. McDermott is now gone, fired Monday morning. Credit to Bo Nix, credit to Sean Payton, credit to that Denver defense for doing what they do best and causing a turnover when needed. Also, credit to that damn Denver Broncos offensive line. 0 sacks given up in this game across the board. Denver Broncos move on to the AFC Championship game. What a win for them in their own building. They will be doing it without Nix the rest of the way. Jared Stidham is going to try to be Stidham. Again, Thursday morning episode will be our AFC and NFC Championship game breakdowns and predictions. Don't want to miss that. That is your Broncos and Bills game recap. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube or even watching on Spotify, I got the new Fleetwood Mac poster in the back. It's probably flipped backwards for you because I do the mirror camera, but Fleetwood Mac poster in the back. Got some new apartment decor showing on the episode. I love Fleetwood Mac. Next to that is a Red Hot Chili Peppers one. Love those bands. They're just so great. Trying to add some new stuff to the background as well. Maybe some floating shelves with some cool football memorabilia, decor. We're working on it. It's a work in progress, but Fleetwood Mac is back there and it's there to stay. It's good looking. It's good looking. What was not good looking was the 49ers offense. What was not good looking was the 49ers defense. 49ers at Seahawks. Seattle wins 41-6. 41-6. Seattle wins over the 6 seed 49ers. Brock Purdy, 140 yards, 1 interception, 1 fumble, 15 of 27. Guys, they lost 41-6. They lost by 35 points. And Purdy only threw the football 27 times. They put up the white flag early. It was evident. Obviously, they didn't literally give up, but man, they were just out of gas. They were flat out of gas. They were outmatched. They were out everything. Obviously, the bye week for Seattle was huge, letting them rest up. Let's talk about Darnold. Darnold, 124 yards, 1 touchdown. He threw 17 passes. He went 12 of 17. He threw 17 passes in their NFC divisional game. Seattle did exactly what they wanted to do. Let's go back to the 49ers here for a second. We'll start with them on offense, or just them as a whole. 49ers, 236 total yards. They were 0 for 0 in the red zone. The 49ers didn't even enter the red zone in this game. Not once. 0 times. They were 0 for 3 on 4th down. They had 3 total turnovers, and Purdy led the team in rushing with 37 yards. Oh, on top of that, they let the opening kick go 95 yards to the crib. Shaheed. Of course it is. Shaheed, the speedster from out of New Orleans, from the Saints, I should say. I'm going to recap that or restate these things one more time as I up my brightness. 236 total yards of offense for the 49ers. 0 of 0 in the red zone. Didn't even get there. 0 for 3 on 4th down. They had 3 total turnovers, and Brock Purdy led the team with 37 rushing yards. Oh, yeah, and they let Shaheed take one to the crib on the opening kickoff. I'm trying to find anything remotely positive to take away from this game, and the one thing I can say is that kudos to the Niners for even getting to this spot. Given their injuries this year, injuries is never an excuse in the NFL, but with the substation next to the 49ers stadium, big conspiracy out there about causing the injuries. Go look that up, by the way. Or I can talk about that in the offseason. I don't know. We'll see. But given everything that's gone on this season for the Niners, just getting to the divisional round and being there, kind of a success in itself. This is the NFL. There's no excuses. But given how dinged up and how out of gas this team is and was, credit to them for making it there. So that's the 49ers. The Seahawks had 281 total yards of offense, 5.3 yards per carry. They were 4 of 6 in the red zone. They had 2 total penalties. Kenneth Walker had a hat trick and 116 rush yards. The Seattle Seahawks in this game took the 49ers' overall defensive strength, which is their rushing attack. Secondary had been better, but their rushing attack's been top 10 all year long. Their defense, their rushing defense. And the Seattle Seahawks took that knowledge and embarrassed them on the ground. Kenneth had his best game potentially of his career. A hat trick in the divisional round against a, quote, top 10 rushing defense? Are you kidding me? They embarrassed them. They embarrassed that defensive front for the Niners. They embarrassed the 49ers as a whole in this game. And the score obviously reflects that. It reflects that. I can't believe, and I double stated it so you could hear it clear as day, that the 49ers didn't even get into the Seattle red zone. Not once. Not once. Seattle played this game perfectly. They played it perfectly. What does that mean? When I say Seattle played this game perfectly, what does that mean? Darnold didn't have to do a damn thing. That's what that means. This is the way Seattle wants to win games. This is the way Seattle wants to not only get to the Super Bowl, but win the Super Bowl. Darnold doesn't really have to do anything. He has the luxury to sit back, watch his defense and his special teams and his running game. Just take the reins and take over. That's what I'm assuming Seattle wants to do, and they did that uber successfully in this spot. They had 0 turnovers on offense in this game. The O-line only gave up 2 sacks. Darnold didn't have to do a damn thing. Just sat back, threw the ball, 17 times. 17 times. And they had no turnovers, only 2 sacks given up. That is the perfect recipe for the Seattle Seahawks to not only go to the Super Bowl, but to win it. If they play like that, obviously nobody's stopping them. Nobody will come close. If they play like they did on Saturday night, nobody will touch them. Like that, when Seattle can do the things that they just did, they're unbeatable. In this year, in the 25-26 season, they're unbeatable. If they don't turn the ball over, Darnold doesn't have to do a damn thing, and that running game's going, they're nearly unbeatable. Great year for the 49ers given all their injuries, but McDonald had these dudes ready to go. Ready to go. Off the bye, from the jump, obviously, with Shaheed returning the kick to the crib. Literal first play, they were ready to go. They were shot out of a cannon in this spot against a division rival with a new one on the horizon. McDonald deserves a lot of credit. A lot of credit. He had this team ready to go. Injury news, though, Charbonnet, torn ACL. He's out, obviously, the rest of the playoffs. He's out probably into September and maybe October of next season. Brutal blow for them. Kenneth Walker just had the hat trick. They're going to be asking a lot of him against the Rams and whoever, if they do move on, they play in the Super Bowl as well. So big injury news for Seattle. That's a brutal blow. Brutal blow. You know they love that 1-2 punch with Walker and Charbonnet. Let's see how they adjust to that injury against the Rams on Sunday. It's going to be really interesting. What a win for Seattle. 49ers, tough loss. Out of gas, tough loss. We move in to the Sunday slate. Breaking news alert on my mobile device here. Dolphins are hiring former Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley as their head coach. Obviously, this episode doesn't come out until Monday night, but that happened right around 4 p.m. Central Time. Hafley is the new head coach in Miami. Very interesting. Interesting. At the end of the episode, or towards the end, we go much more in depth about the coaching cycle, the new hires, but this is mid-episode here. Hafley hired by the Dolphins. He is their new head coach moving forward. Okay, former Packers defensive coordinator. All right. The Miami Dolphins get their guy, replacing McDonald, or McDaniel, damn it. The Miami Dolphins get their new guy, replacing McDaniel. Okay, there you have it. Moving into the Sunday games, the Texans at Patriots. Patriots win 28-16. A lot to break down in this game. Stroud, 212 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. You heard me right, 4 interceptions, 20 of 47 on his passes. He almost threw the ball 50 times. And it seemed like every single time he threw it, it was going to be an interception. Drake May, 179 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 2 fumbles, 16 of 27 on his passes. We'll start here with the Texans. Oh boy. It was an ugly stat line, of course. Texans, 48 rushing yards, 1 of 4 in the red zone. They had no Nico Collins, no Dalton Schultz, no Trent Brown, and others at points during this game. In the fourth quarter, Woody Marks was out as well. Along with that, they had 5 total turnovers. 5 total turnovers. Could not have been a worse performance from the Houston Texans offense. More on that in a sec. The Patriots, they went 3 of 14 on third down. They gave up 5 sacks. Will Anderson was all over the place. They had 3 total turnovers from Drake May himself, but defensively had a pick 6, and they had 3 dimes from Drake May himself. 3 beautiful passes. Over the middle for the first tutty, Diggs with the sticky glue hands for the second, and Booty with one of the best catches of the season, one-handed for the dagger against the Texans. We're going to continue with this, I should say. Credit to Mike Vrabel. Credit to Vrabel in New England. They dialed up the pressure. They were not afraid to show you what they were going to do. They were literally telling the Texans, we're going to send the house. We know you can't stop it. Good luck. They blitzed the ever-living crap out of C.J. Stroud and that offensive line. Vrabel used to be in Houston. He was a linebacker coach and then, had some different roles on the defense for several years in Houston. He knows this organization. He knows that their biggest weakness in the offensive line standpoint was pressure. picking up blitzes consistently. He brought the freaking house and applied pressure all day long on CJ Stroud and company. Then on offense, they pounded the rock in the fourth quarter when they needed to drain the clock. They did that extremely successfully to close out the win. Credit to Mike Vrabel. I mean, this is a damn good coach. I was huge on the hire. I predicted New England to make the playoffs before the season even started, and they are going to the AFC Championship game. Those fans are so spoiled. They are so spoiled. But credit to Vrabel in New England for a phenomenal win. Credit is very much deserved. Credit to that defense and that entire organization because it's all very well deserved. Let's talk about CJ Stroud. Let us talk about CJ Stroud. They've started. The CJ Stroud conversations have started, and they will stay until or if he writes them off himself. It's the only way those conversations will end. Only way the conversations will finalize is if or when CJ Stroud writes them off himself. That's where we're at now with CJ Stroud heading into the 2026 season. This was a horrific playoffs from CJ Stroud. One of the worst playoff performances, not only this game, but previous game as well versus the Steelers. One of the worst playoff runs for a quarterback in NFL history. It's got to be up there. He had 5 interceptions and 5 total fumbles. He only lost 2 or 3 of those. Awful. Just awful from CJ Stroud in the Houston Texans offense. Even outside of the turnovers, if you even took those away, he was missing open receivers. He was getting happy feet. He did not look calm whatsoever under pressure. He looked nervous. He looked timid. He looked scared. He looked scared out there, and it was evident, and Mike Vrabel obviously saw that. He smelled blood in the water, and he sent the Sharks to go and finish the job. And they did that. They did that. He made CJ Stroud, Mike Vrabel, and that defense they have over there, made CJ Stroud unbelievably inconfident in his own abilities. Unbelievably hesitant in every single throw. And that was evident. It was so evident. He just looked so scared out there. It was unbelievable what I was watching, and I'm sure what you all were watching as well. He was 100% the reason why the Texans lost this football game. You can look at some injuries. No Nico Schultz out in the late first quarter. You can look at all those things, whatever it was. This is 1,000% on CJ Stroud. There's nobody else to blame. He took the blame in the presser. He deserves all of it because that was one of the worst quarterback performances I've ever seen in my life. Playoffs or not. One of the worst. Could not have been worse. The Texans should not extend him this offseason. I doubt they will now. They're going to make him, quote, prove it. And so the Texans moving forward have a very interesting situation. It's going to be a prove it year for Stroud. They're not going to pay him. Either, there's 2 ways it goes, most likely. 1, Stroud steps up. He proves it. He plays well next year. He gets the big time money. Texans have their guy. 2, he stinks it up. Davis Mills comes in. You have your answer. It's not Stroud. You at least know that. It's not Stroud. So that's what 2026 will be for Houston. We've got 6 months of offseason talk to hear about CJ Stroud and Houston and what they're going to do. The offseason talk is going to be damn loud. It already is loud. Loud, but it's also valid. So valid. Because there's so many question marks with him moving forward. And if he can be the guy for Houston for not only next year, but in the coming years at NRG Stadium. And he's got 6 months till August to change his demeanor, change his confidence, change his playing abilities, and make adjustments, or else he will not be a starter in 2026. He won't be. He will not be. You've seen his abilities, and I have confidence. I had confidence in him all year long. I backed him. I was getting a lot of text messages, a lot of flack, all of it. And I backed him. I believed in him. You've seen his abilities. It's there. But my God, it could not have been worse from CJ Stroud. Full loss on him, full blame on him. A lot of questions around him now moving forward into 2026. I don't know if we'll ever see that version of him that we saw in 2023 his rookie year. Again, we might not. We may not. Only time will tell. But question marks at quarterback now for Houston. What a win for New England. What a win. They move on to the AFC Championship game to face the Broncos. What a game that's going to be. It's going to be great. Even without Bo Nix, sadly, it's going to be a great game. We move on to the last divisional round game. Let's do it. All right, the last game from the divisional round of the 2025-2026 playoffs. The LA Rams go into Chicago and win 20-17 in overtime. Matthew Stafford's stat line, 258 passing yards, 20 of 42 on his passes, and that's it. No turnovers, no touchdowns. That's it. From Matty Ice, not Matt Ryan. He's later. We're talking about him later in the show. Matthew Stafford. Caleb Williams, 257 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 23 of 42 on his passes. The Bears had 417 total yards in this game. 160 of them were rushing. They were 3 of 6 on 4th down. They were 2 of 3 in the red zone, and they had 0 sacks given up. 0. But 3 interceptions from Caleb. 3 of them. Can't have it. Can't have it. Rams, 340 total yards, 111 were rushing, 5 of 16 on 3rd down, but 0 turnovers, and they had 1 penalty for 5 yards. The LA Rams in the spot gave up no sacks and literally had 1 flag for 5 yards. That's it. That's it. Stafford didn't have a touchdown. They played so clean. All things, including all things. So clean from the LA Rams in that 15-degree weather. And overall, this was such a balanced and well-fought football game. Like, there's nothing that absolutely jumps off the page to you outside of the Bears' turnovers, of course. This was a balanced football game. Touchdown, punt. It was just a consistent NFC divisional round game. That's what this was. Rams had 22 first downs. Bears had 23 first downs. They had the same red zone stats. But the obvious factor, of course, 3 turnovers to 0 turnovers. That's just the story of the game right there. Like, there's no crazy one-handed catch for, a touchdown. Obviously, there's the Caleb Williams play to extend the game, to go into overtime. Cole Kmet, 4th down, scrambling back 30 yards. Of course, what a play. What a play that was. But outside of that, this was a standard game, really, for 59 minutes and 30 seconds, whatever it was. Outside of those turnovers, again, the Bears played this game exactly how they wanted to. Exactly how they wanted to. They had success on the ground with, 160 rushing yards. They had success on the ground against a top 5 Rams rushing defense. They had success. They really did. Loveland got involved. DJ Moore had a nice touchdown grab. The defense in the secondary was very much elevated in this game. Like, the secondary has been burnt toast a majority of the year. For the Chicago Bears, they played well. The defense as a whole played one of their best games of the season. One of them. They had success on the ground. Like I mentioned, Caleb used his legs when he needed to. But what it came down to was Caleb's inexperience in the end. Obviously, you're not going to be perfect. You're going to have turnovers. But he forced the ball down the field when he did not need to whatsoever. Didn't need to throw that football in overtime. He didn't. That was when his last pick came. Forcing the ball downfield. Not necessary. That's where a little bit of the Caleb Williams experiment comes into play, is the interceptions in some plays that, he's trying to extend and trying to make something big happen. It goes both ways with Caleb Williams. There's a lot of good with Caleb Williams. That's been seen. He's led the Bears to the divisional round, right? The Bears wouldn't be there without Caleb and his magic. But that's the Caleb experiment, right? That is the Caleb Williams you get. With him, you get a lot of great, but sometimes a little bit of bad, a little bit of too much. And I think personally on that play, on that interception in overtime, he was trying to just do a little bit too much. Hell of a season for Caleb. He's clearly the guy in Chicago. I knew that all year long. Some people at the start of the year didn't want to think that. I knew that. I believed that. I still obviously believe that. He's proven that this year. But he was trying to do a little bit too much on the interception, and it came to cost him a little bit. You can't have 3 picks in a playoff game and expect to win. You can't. Just like Josh Allen with his fumbles, just like C.J. Stroud with all his damn turnovers. You can't win the games like this. Even when they're close and you're in it, they're going to come back to haunt you 9 times out of 10. And it did. Adams was also clutch in a very familiar Soldier Field environment. Obviously playing in Green Bay for several years. He went to Soldier Field a lot. Clutch catch on the sideline to set the Rams up in field goal range. The veterans get it done. The veterans get it done for the Rams in the damn cold weather. As we thought in Chicago, we had the Rams winning. We got this one correct. We went 2 of 2. 2 and 2, I should say, on our game picks. We had Rams and we had Broncos winning. We did have Houston and we did have Niners, which were just no bueno. No bueno whatsoever. And, the Rams also had success on the ground like we thought as well. Kyron had a really solid game all around. And it was an all-around win for the LA Rams in the cold. They move on to the NFC Championship game. They do it. They move on to the NFC Championship game. They go to Seattle, the in-division rival, the game we really, I think a lot of people wanted to see in the NFC because they've been cinema both times this year already. Rams at Seahawks, 4 trips to the Super Bowl. What a game that's going to be. Let's now dive into some coaching updates to wrap up the episode. We start in New York with the Giants. John Harbaugh signs a 5-year deal with the New York Giants. Home run hire. Of course, this is a home run hire for the New York Giants, and I hope their fan base feels the same way. I bet you they do. Harbaugh, 63 years old, 180 and 113 in his career, so 180 to 113 win-to-loss in his career with a Super Bowl ring, of course. This is an A-plus hire. The leadership, they've been looking for a coach like this. Actually, I'm going to take a step back. They've been needing a coach like this with this experience, with the winning experience, not just experience, winning experience, Super Bowl experience. Success in the playoffs. They've been, to me, needing this type of coach for years. After the Joe Judge experiment, they needed a veteran guy. They get it. It's an A-plus hire. It's a home run hire. And this is their first veteran coach in quite some time, probably since Coughlin. They had McAdoo, Pat Shurmur, Joe Judge, Brian Daboll. We'll see where he lands. Those 4 guys, they didn't have really any head coaching experience, not a lot of winning experience, that's for damn sure. They get a guy in Harbaugh that knows what the hell he's doing. He's been around the block, obviously almost 2 decades. He's got the Super Bowl ring. It's a home run hire for the New York Giants, and I can't wait to see what he can do with Cam Scatterbo, Jackson Dart, Malik Neighbors, a great pass rush. This is going to be an exciting time for the New York Giants. They have some core pieces over there that can absolutely build around. It's not like you're absolutely scrapping everything and starting from scratch. They have the pieces. It's now building around them and putting it all together. And Harbaugh, I'm sure, is going to find a way to do it. So I'm excited to see what Harbaugh can do with the Giants. That's the first big news. Second, Stefanski signs with the Falcons. Stefanski is the first Falcons head coach to be hired coming directly from another NFL team. Or another NFL head coaching job, I should say, since 1997. So the most recent Atlanta Falcons hires for the past, 28 years, they have not come straight from a different head coaching position from another team. They've been within the organization with Raheem Morris. They've been, DCs, OCs from other teams, those things. They haven't actually taken a candidate directly from another team that was the head coach. So interesting shakeup there for the Atlanta Falcons. A lot of things are going on in Atlanta, some needed changes. Stefanski being the hire is a great change to me in my mind. The deal is 5 years long. He has ties to now president of the Atlanta Falcons, Matt Ryan. Not sure if you knew that news. Matt Ryan is now president of the Atlanta Falcons. He will report to Matt Ryan. They retain their defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich. So the coaching core is coming together for the Atlanta Falcons. Stefanski, they keep Ulbrich. I love this hire as well. How could you not? How could you not? Stefanski's an amazing coach. We saw it in Cleveland. He won 2 AP Coaches of the Year awards. He went to the playoffs twice with the Cleveland Browns. Home run hire for Atlanta. Love where Harbaugh ended up. Love where Stefanski ended up. 2 of the biggest names of the head coaching market are now gone. Third big news. Lions hire Drew Petzing as their new OC. I could break this down like literally for probably 10 minutes if I wanted to. I'm just going to tell you this. This hire is great as long as Dan Campbell can trust him. Petzing's from the Cardinals. He spent the last 3 years as the OC in Arizona. Previous work with the Vikings and the Browns. Some tight end work, quarterback coach work, assistant work. Was the OC in Atlanta for 3 years. Now goes to Detroit to partner up with Dan Campbell. And absolutely, I think this is a good hire. We won't fully know, of course, with coordinators until you see them, 5, 6, 7 games into the season, what they're at least looking like, what they're able to somewhat put on the field, and what productivity they can get from their core. Right? It's always hard to judge a OC or DC hire from the bat, from the rip. But this has promise. I mean, the Lions, their main point of emphasis was getting a veteran type of guy in there. They didn't want some project at the OC position. They wanted a guy who's been around the block, who has a lot of experience. They get that with Petzing. It's all about trust now and building the relationship with Dan Campbell. Last year, obviously, that was not the case. He took over play calling duties like halfway through the season. Dan Campbell's not made to call plays. He's there to be the head coach, oversee everything, make the tough decisions. That's what he's there to do. That's when the Lions succeed, is when Dan Campbell can focus purely on game management and the team as a whole. He does not need to be dialing up plays. Too much on his plate for him to be doing that. He's at his best when he's just a head coach role, not calling plays as well. That was evident this year. So they go and get a guy like Petzing, and as long as they can build that trust and build that chemistry, I see no reason why this should be a bad hire. Because you saw what he was able to do in Arizona this year with Jacoby Brissett, Michael Wilson. I mean, hell, the Lions are an upgrade at every single position. As a franchise, across the board, it's an upgrade for Petzing. So the Lions should be excited about this hire. Petzing's, I'm sure, thrilled to get this job. I'm excited to see what they can do. Number 4, Sean McDermott. Bye. Mr. Sean McDermott fired from Buffalo after 9 seasons and no Super Bowl appearances. McDermott, 98-50 record in the regular season. That was his record in the regular season. Second best winning percentage and the second most wins in the league over that 9-year stretch. Very impressive. But he was, of course, behind Andy Reid in the Kansas City Chiefs. They made 2 AFC Championship games. They lost both of them to Mahomes and the Chiefs as well. Here's the big take, and this is going to kind of go into the winding up of this episode. I want you to hear this clear as day. The 2025 season will go down as one of the most influential NFL seasons in the past 2 or 3 decades. That's how impactful this 2025-2026 NFL season was during the regular season and has been throughout the playoffs, and it will continue to be in the future. When we regard this season, we will say it's one of the most impactful in recent memory in the NFL. Because there was so much parity this season, the teams that have come up short in previous years thought they really had a chance this year. That's Pittsburgh. That's the Ravens. That's Houston, who hasn't made a lot of changes yet. But that's Buffalo, who just made a huge change. Because of the parity, because of the top dogs, quote, being out, like the Chiefs, and the Eagles being much weaker than they've been in years past. Because of this parity, teams that have not had consistent success thought this could be the year. This could be the time. This could be the moment we take the leap. When they didn't do it, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Bills, and others, they realized changes needed to be made. That's what this season winded up being. That's what the 2025-2026 season was all about. Since those teams fell short, it urged them more than usual to make changes that have been building up for several years. right? The Bills not getting to the Super Bowl. Harbaugh not even making the playoffs this year. Tomlin not winning a playoff game in 10 years. The things that have been building up in these organizations, they have finally come to an end. Given, and that could be associated with the parity, because you give a season like this one, coaches think, oh my gosh, like we can compete with anybody. Anybody this year can win it. Anybody can beat anybody. Because they got eliminated in a year like this, they thought it was time. If they're like, if you can't do it in a year like this when it's open and competitive, anybody can take it, you're not the guy. We're moving on. So the 2025-2026 NFL season will go down as one of the most influential ever because the parity allowed for change. The parity allowed for more weaknesses and more consistent problems to be shown. And the changes happened thereafter. Buffalo, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and other places. That's where it can be seen. For this firing specifically with McDermott, I respect it. I very much respect it because they're an incomplete team. They've been an incomplete team. You're probably thinking, how could I possibly say that? They've made the playoffs 8 of 9 years under McDermott. They've made 2 AFC championship games. They're not getting to where they want to go. It's been 9 years. They're getting so close, but they're not getting there. And that calls for a change. So I respect the firing. Now the question is, who do you replace him with? Because the head coach market is super thin. It was thin before Stefanski and Harbaugh got hired. It's still very, very thin. Very thin. Teams will be reaching. Maybe the Bills reach. Maybe so. There's only 2 or 3 more guys off the top of my head I would say get a head coaching job. Mike McDaniel might be one of them. Maybe. Tomlin's probably going to sit this year out. He's not even on the board. I mean, there's not too many out there. Like maybe Dabble gets another chance now. You know, maybe Raheem Morris lands on his feet with a position at head coach. I don't know. But it's thin. It's thin. So there's going to be teams reaching. A lot of them. Because there's a lot of openings. So I respect the firing, but I ask, who's your first candidate? Who do you have your eyes on? Because for the Buffalo Bills, I don't really know, given who's there right now on the board for them to take. So we'll see. We'll see. Bieniemy back to Kansas City as well. Monday evening, Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator, or former offensive coordinator for the Chiefs, goes back to be the OC for the Chiefs, was the Bears running back coach this year. He's back in Kansas City. We already touched on the Miami Dolphins getting their new head coach and former Green Bay defensive coordinator. He now goes over to Miami. That wraps up this episode. Thank you so much for tuning into the Swank Tank. If you have not already, tune into, follow all these socials at the Swank Tank. Got Super Bowl content, NFC AFC Championship game content coming out. We got a huge offseason ahead, and we are still rolling out episodes week in and week out. Tons of content coming your way. Now, always has been, always will be, and in the future, so much coming your way. Don't want to miss out. So make sure you're following all the socials at the Swank Tank. Appreciate you so much if you made it all the way to the end of the episode. Have a great Monday night, Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever you're watching, whenever you're listening. Appreciate you more than ever. Have a great week. We will see you Thursday morning. Don't want to miss it.